The ARCA Racing Series comes to Pocono, and there's been a youth movement in this series. Young drivers trying to make a name for themselves, learning from one of the best of all time in Frank Kimmel. But even Kimmel has to be impressed by the numbers Ty Dillon has posted to start this season.
Standing on the gas is Ty Dillon.
Ty Dillon wastes no time.
He has a .500 winning percentage.
Nobody is going to stop Ty Dillon.
He's only been out of the top 10 twice all year.
Dillon holds on for the win. Win number 4 for Ty Dillon, and he did it on the restart.
He's won at super speedways.
Kimmel through the travel. Here comes Dillon at the stripe. It's Ty Dillon winning this one.
He's won at the short tracks.
The ARCA Racing Series makes it back to Lucas Oil Raceway, and Ty Dillon will go to victory lane.
Ty Dillon has been a dominating force in the ARCA Racing Series.
8th career win in the ARCA Racing Series, coming in your points leader, and he will pad that lead once again.
But can he dominate on the tricky triangle?
That's the question we're going to answer today. Welcome to the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. It's the Pennsylvania ARCA 125 from Pocono on speed. Overcast skies. Last time we were here, it was fog that was the problem. Today, 75 degrees and cloudy. This race scheduled to run on Saturday. It's now a doubleheader run on Sunday. Hello, everyone. Rick Allen, Phil Parsons with you for this, the 13th race of the ARCA Racing Series 2011 season. Now, earlier in June, it was a longer race. This race actually ends up being longer because they thought they were going to race yesterday.
Yeah, and only a 50-lapper. Now, there's a lot of talk in the garage area that, you know, these guys can go around 40, 42 laps on fuel. These are bigger fuel cells than the Cup cars have. So they're talking about possibly running 10 to 15 laps to get in their fuel window. This is a lot shorter race than we normally run here, so there's a lot of strategy going on. But these guys have had to think about it for almost 24 hours. They were all set to go yesterday, and now they had to go back to the hotel and whatever and think about it some more. So now they're worried. They've been worried for 24 hours.
Well, Bob, I know one guy who probably feels pretty good is the guy starting up front, Bob Dillner.
That's right, Max Gresham, just 18 years old. He won the Menards pole presented by Ansel, and he is antsy to get kick-started here today. Max Gresham, I just leaned into the window and he told me, man, it's been so boring just playing the waiting game. He's very excited to go after this one, and he knows the guy starting on the outside of him on the front row is his closest challenger today, Ty Dillon. But 18-year-old Max Gresham from Georgia thinks he can get the job done. He's looking for his first ever super speedway win in ARCA, and he's hoping it comes today at the Pocono Triangle.
Thanks, Bob. Bob will be a busy man down on pit road today. We want to take a look at our point standings. Again, through 12 races of the 19-race schedule, Ty Dillon has been dominant, Phil. We saw earlier, he's won 50% of the races that he has started.
Really an incredible season, and you see 9-time champion Frank Kimmel 370 points behind. Ty Dillon added to his point total by qualifying in the second position. ARCA awards points for qualifying. He got 10 more points. But Frank Kimmel right now is just about 2 full races behind Ty Dillon.
Ty Dillon's worst finish this year has been 11th. He did that twice, but he also has 5 wins already on the 2011 season. Green flag about to fly in Pocono. We'll see it when we come back here on Speed.
For 120.
Coverage of the ARCA Racing Series on Speed is brought to you by Sunoco, the official fuel of the ARCA Racing Series and fuel provider to 40 other racing series. By the new low-rise collection from Fruit of the Loom. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards. Welcome back to Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Want to take a look at our starting grid for this race. Max Gresham grabbing his 2nd career pole. And a really good qualifying effort by Gresham.
It really was. It was 11 thousandths of a second faster than Ty Dillon. I was standing when Max qualified, and you could see the look on his face. He wasn't overconfident, but he thought he might have that thing. Max beat him by 11 thousandths.
Tim George Jr. will start on the inside of row number 4. He was the last winner at this racetrack.
The 9-time champion Frank Kimmel starts back in row number 6 along with Chad Hockenbraugh.
Tom Birdie in that 35, another Venturini Motorsports entry.
There's Bill Kimmel, Frank Kimmel's brother and crew chief's son, Will, in row number 9 here in the 68 Menards car.
Brent Brevac of the Brevac family. It's been involved in racing for so many years. Starts on the outside of row 12.
Our 45-time Daytona winner, Bobby Gerhardt, will start back in row number 11.
Nick Igdalski, he's got a relationship here at the racetrack. The grandson of the, well, they used to be the ones who ran this, and they just retired.
Benny Chastain will start back in row number 16. Bob Shack actually qualified that car. Benny will be reverted to the back of the field.
For our thoughts before the green flag come out, let's go to Bob Dillner.
Rick, I want you to keep an eye on the 55 car, the guy starting on the outside of the third row, 18-year-old Kyle Fowler. Very good this year in ARCA competition, especially in qualifying, but he had some transmission problems the other day. That team had to take the transmission out of the car, completely rebuild it, and put it back in to retain that 6th starting spot. So a lot of questions on the start and restarts today for Kyle Fowler, but he's hoping for a great finish here today at Pocono.
He's got a great guy up on the pit box with Billy Venturini giving advice to all their teams. Green flag in the air, we're underway. Great restart on the inside. That Camry of Gresham able to jump out in front of Ty Dillon as they go into turn 1. Tim George Jr. working the bottom of the racetrack. 12, Mary-Eve Defoe on the outside, working up through the back of the field.
Remember, Tim George Jr. won this race back in June, the fog shortened race. This is a short race, 50 laps. We ran even shorter on that one.
An overcast day here, but again, a lot of the rubber that was on the track earlier when they were supposed to run this race yesterday washed off because of the rain. Ron Cox in the 28 slow on the racetrack.
Max Gresham opens up a little bit of a lead over Ty Dillon, about a 1/10.5 right now. What a great qualifying session. A good battle between those two cars for qualifying. Chris Buescher right now holds down that 3rd spot. He was able to get by the 08 of Casey Roderick.
Your top 5, Gresham, Dillon, Chris Buescher, Casey Roderick, and Grant Infinger.
Top 6 all staying together. Chad Hockenbrough holds down that 6th spot. There's Tim George Jr. Oh, trouble already.
Going into turn number 1, the 59 slides over the wall, jumps over the wall, and is going to hit on the other side. How about the 59 of Buster Graham leaping that wall?
Remember how much rain we had here yesterday. That's what postponed this race till today. He picked up speed when he got in the grass.
And what a great thing that that car was able to stay on all 4 wheels as it leaped over that inside wall, that inside barrier where there wasn't a safer barrier. So it actually ended up helping him.
You see the 3-car Brent Brevac also involved there. What an incredible ride for Buster Graham. There's Brent Brevac's car.
Short day for Brent Brevac in that 3. But the window net is down. A great sign as the safety crews will get to these cars. And again, all of the rain that we had yesterday is going to make this area, this grassy area that all these cars are stopped in, as we see the 7 of Brandon Kidd also stopped on the racetrack.
Yeah, a lot of damage to Brandon's car. It looked like that car picked up speed when it got in the grass, didn't it?
Yeah, it did look like it was almost accelerating as it was sliding sideways. Another one of the Venturini Motorsport cars, Tom Birdie in the 35 involved in this one. I mentioned all that rain is going to make it difficult for the safety vehicles to get to these cars in the grass.
Let's see what happened here. Something happened to Tom Birdie there. He turns into Kyle Martell in the 43 car, and you see the smoke. These guys had no idea. Watch Buster Graham, the left of your screen here. That is amazing that he leaped that 3-tier guardrail.
And then
just about went back over it on the other side.
Yeah, on the other side, just about got back over it, but it was caught up. Again, Tom Birdie, hard left turn to make contact with some of the other trucks or cars, and amazingly over that guardrail on the inside of this racetrack.
That looked like a high hurdler there.
Yeah, a very good one, actually. Here's another view. Look at how high that car was up in the air.
You see the access road. Look at the 7 of Brandon Kidd. He got up in the air. That access road really caused those cars to get up in the air.
Launched the 59 and the 7. How about that? There is Buster Graham climbing out of that 59. What a wild ride he will be able to talk about at Pocono.
A little bit. Looks pretty good there. Wow, that was an incredible. Look how tall the guardrail is. They just jumped over. That's what that car jumped over.
That's over 4 feet tall, that guardrail, and those guys jumped over it, but the car flew over it. Getting the drivers out. Take another look at what just took place. Again, the 35, hard left turn right there.
Watch this now. There's the 59. Freeze it right there. You see that access road right there. That's what that's gonna launch him over that guardrail. Right when he hits that, just barely even touches the top of the guardrail.
Dirt flying everywhere, dirt, mud. The 3, the 7 of Brandon Kidd also launched into the air. That race car
from the same access road. I think that's something maybe the track officials will look at after seeing this incident right here.
Again, something happens. There's Tom Birdie getting out of his race car, walking back to the ambulance. They'll take a ride to the infield care center to be checked out. But Tom Birdie, something happened with that race car. A hard left turn before they got to turn number 1, and that caused this. Buster Graham launched into the air in the infield at Pocono. Everything in television. Wednesday night on Speed. Don't miss an all-new episode of Dumbest Stuff on Wheels. The most outrageous and downright stupidest situations, crashes, and mishaps ever caught on video. And we may be able to add this to that show. Again, that's Wednesday night, 8 Eastern, only on Speed.
On a completely unrelated note, we just had a situation here at Pocono Raceway that I think we could use some of that video, although this was not intentional. Most of the dumbest stuff we see is intentional. This certainly was. There's Buster Graham's car, number 59. Watch. Tom Birdie, top of your screen here. Freeze it right there. He just turns dead left right there. And he gets into the 43 of Kyle Martell, and that just creates a smoke screen in front of these other cars. They turn left to try to avoid him, and somebody makes contact with the 59 of Buster Graham. He hits the access road and launches over the 3-tier guardrail, as well as Brandon Kidd, the access road, getting him way up in the air.
Yeah, it was Brandon Kidd that got into the side of the 59 and altered his direction, but the 59 goes over the wall. The 7 is off to the right of that shot, and it also gets probably 4 to 5 feet up in the air as it was launched off that access road as well. Here's another look. This is where Brandon Kidd, look at how high that car is. In the 7, Brandon Kidd flying through the air. Tom Birdie also getting some air in that 35.
You see Tom Birdie, all 4 tires locked up and not even slowing down. The conditions are so wet here from the rain we had yesterday.
ARCA is saying that they're going to leave that car there for now. It's completely out of harm's way, at least unless we have another Dukes of Hazzard incident where someone flies over a guardrail, which unbelievable. Phil, I mean, you've been in racing a long time. Have you ever seen a car jump over a guardrail?
Well, we saw Cale Yarborough back in 1965 at Darlington clear the guardrail and go outside the ballpark, but it's been a long time since I've seen something like that happen.
What I used to call sprint car races, dirt sprint car races. Every now and then there'd be a tumble and one would go over the fence, but never have I seen anything like this. A stock car sliding sideways, hits the access road, and launched over 5 feet into the air over the guardrail. They're cleaning up the rest of the race cars. They're lining them back up. We'll go back to racing when we return to Pocono. Wednesday night on Speed, 4 car fanatics face off in the wildest car competition ever. Don't miss an all-new episode of My Ride Rules, Wednesday night at 9 Eastern, exclusively on Speed. Wildest car competition ever. I think we're coming close to it here.
Been pretty wild here
It
so
has
far.
been wild. We're under a caution because Tom Birdie in the 35 took a hard left turn, made some contact with another car before they got to turn number 1. And that is the results. Buster Graham's 59 up against the guardrail. This is what took place.
See, Tom Birdie turns hard left into Kyle Martell. These guys behind him, because of the smoke, can't see anything. Look like the 7 of Brandon Kidd and the 59 of Buster Graham get together, and they both get airborne. Buster going over a 3-tier guardrail. Unbelievable.
Brandon Kidd also flying about 4 or 5 feet up into the air. Probably a good 60 or 70 feet. He traveled while he was airborne. And right behind him was the 35 of Tom Birdie. That's the view you see from Brandon Kidd flying through the air in the 7. Birdie also airborne as they went past across the access road. And then while we're under caution, the 15 of John Blankenship loses the left rear tire. We're under caution.
Yeah, he must have come on pit road and then came back around and made it another 2.5 miles coming back down the front straightaway. His left rear tire comes off, passes him.
His left rear tire went quite a bit further than he did. He decides to take the U-turn, go back onto pit road to get another left rear wheel put on that race car.
He's going to make a U-turn here on the pit road, going the wrong direction.
And the tire will continue.
It's going to end up again against the inside guardrail.
We've seen some incredible things already, and we're only 11 laps into this race. On the initial start of this race, Kyle Fowler in the 55 passed before the start finish line, so the ARCA officials are going to penalize him. And with more on that story, let's go to Bob Dillner.
And actually, they're very not happy about that, Rick, but a lot of trouble for Kyle Fowler this weekend. I told you before the race began that they fixed the transmission in that car. They thought they were going to be able to retain their 6th starting spot, but right before we went green, 2 laps before we went green, the ARCA officials told them over the radio, you had to go to the rear of the field. And I asked Kevin Caldwell, how come? He said, you know what? Yesterday, ARCA officials told us if we rebuilt the transmission, it would be okay. But since they took the transmission out of the car, Kevin Caldwell being informed today that they had to go to the rear. So multiple problems for the 55 machine here today.
We've seen multiple issues on the racetrack here in Pocono. Maybe the triangle has something to do with it. Bermuda Triangle, Pocono Triangle. We'll be back for the restart here on Speed.
On an all-new episode of The Car Show.
Its way off the racetrack and back onto pit road. We're about to go back to green flag racing. Out in front of the field, the 25 of Max Gresham brings him to the green flag. We're back underway.
That's the 15 of John Blankenship. Remember the car that lost a tire? He is now 1 lap down.
On the restart, a good restart for Max Gresham. And Ty Dillon running 1 and 2. Here comes Chris Buescher in the 17.
There's a 0.8 of Casey Roderick. Casey was the fastest car in practice yesterday. Actually, Thursday.
Thursday. We've been here a while.
Friday.
The days run together. 41 of Ty Dillon able to run a little lower line than that 25 of Max Gresham. Chris Buescher right on the back bumper of the 41 of Dillon.
Ty would like to get up there, at least lead a lap here. Get those 5 bonus points.
Because he needs them.
He needs them. He's only at, what,
370 point lead over Frank Kimmel in second right now.
Frank's being shown way back. Frank made a pit stop on that caution flag, topped that car up with fuel.
Max Gresham has a 4/10 of a second lead over Ty Dillon, Chris Buescher, Casey Roderick, and Chad Hockenbraw, your top 5.
Chris Buescher had a look at the inside of Ty Dillon there going down the front straightaway. Wasn't quite able to make the move. Now Casey Roderick pulls up side by side with Buescher in a battle for 3rd.
Roderick trying to impress on what may be his last ARCA start. Going to move and do some nationwide racing. And a very impressive pass on Chris Buescher, who looked strong early in this one. Chad Hockenbraw now looks to the inside in that number 58.
He goes down to the bottom. It's a little bit older pavement down there. Not quite as much grip, but it looks like he may be able to clear him, and he does.
Chad Hockenbraw moves in front of that 17 of Buescher, chasing after Casey Roderick. Bob Dillner has been waiting outside the infield care center. Is caught up with Buster Graham on that wild ride. Bob.
Buster, glad to see you're A-OK, but take us through that wild ride.
Wow. I don't know if you want to go through that ride. From what I could see, it was a yellow car. I don't know who it was. It looked like a tire might have went down. It hooked left really hard. And, you know, I don't know who he hit. I didn't have anywhere to go but straight into somebody. And all I saw was cars just balling up, and kind of reminded me of Elliott Sadler when I hit the wall. That's exactly what I was thinking. I said this is going to be the same crash I couldn't believe it, and I don't know how I ended up over the wall. But I feel really bad for Mark Gibson, the whole team at Mark Gibson, and the batter's dream car. You know, I think that was the first lap, and came out of it without a scratch. Man, I'd like to thank Chris at ISP Seats. You know, I think that had a lot to do with not, you know, getting hurt.
Did you realize you were over the wall without hitting it?
No, I didn't realize until I got out the car. I didn't realize I was over the wall. You know, I still don't know how I got over it. I had my eyes closed when I hit it. I know that. But man, I'm glad, you know, I'm okay, and you know, hope everybody else is all right. I don't know who all was involved in that crash, but you know, hopefully they came out of it like me. I feel really bad for Mark Gibson's team. I mean, they worked so hard and come out and tear the car up in one lap. You know, it's a bad deal.
Good to see Buster A-OK. But guys, ironically, he used to be a hydroplane racer, came to racing because he thought it'd be a lot safer.
And he hydroplaned over the wall. How about the lead now goes to Ty Dillon, able to make an impressive pass on Max Graham.
Yeah, Max Gresham actually had a problem through the tunnel turn there. Went really wide, looked like maybe lost the front end. Had to chase that car up there. Let's take a look, Rick, at how this pass happened. It was caused by Max Gresham. Watch this now. He goes down in the corner here into the tunnel turn. Watch how wide he gets here. See how wide he gets? Has to get out of the throttle, and look at the momentum that Ty had, and he was able to clear him before he got to turn 3.
Using that momentum, Ty Dillon back out in front. Already, Ty Dillon has 5 wins on the season. 6 wins. Losing track, they're happening so quickly. The ARCA Racing Series 125 on Speed, your motorsports authority. Stay with us.
Each week, 4 new car freaks.
Wednesday night, the car show with Adam Carolla is all new as Adam puts the world's fastest SUVs through the ringer, and John Sally sees if he could hack it on an Indy 500 pit crew. Don't miss the car show. That's Wednesday night, 10 Eastern, only on Speed. Green flag racing continues. Ty Dillon out in front. A battle for the 5th spot now as Chad McCubbie moves to the inside of Chris Buescher.
Chad has put together a solid season this year. Bunch of only 2 races this year out of the top 10.
So Max Gresham loses the lead, and the battle for 5th continues. Chad McCubbie now making the pass on Buescher, takes the spot away. Buescher looks to the inside to do the crossover move. Not going to be able to keep the momentum up. Down the front stretch they go. Drafting comes into play here at Pocono.
See, Ty Dillon going to go to the bottom of Mariev Defoe. Just about runs into Mariev, but it allows Max Gresham. Oh, he has to back off as well. Max had some momentum, but if he'd have been able to clear Mariev on the high side, he may have had enough momentum to go right back by Ty.
Looks like Mariev, when she felt that the 41 of Ty Dillon was down on the low side of the racetrack, started to move up, and that closed the door that Max Gresham thought was open.
You know, remember, Rick, everybody is required by the ARCA Racing Series to pit at least by lap 40. So there's no way that anybody could try to stretch this thing with enough caution laps without pitting. They will have to pit by lap number 40.
Chad Hockenbraugh making his way by Casey Roderick in that 08.
Just barely able to clear Casey. See Chad McCubbie now moving around the 12 car of Mariev Defoe, coming off turn number 3.
We just heard from Buster Graham, who had come out of the infield care center. Everyone has been cleared from the infield care center, but they are taking the driver of the 7, Brandon Kidd, the ambulance to a local hospital to have further evaluation done.
Yeah, that was an incredible ride both those drivers took. I was glad to see Buster able to talk to Bob there coming out of the infield care center. And certainly, hopefully, Brandon Kidd is also okay.
A wobble there by Chad Hockenbraugh as he made his way through the turn, able to stay off the wall. These two tightening up front. Ty Dillon just in front of Max Gresham. Gresham running the lower line sideways through turn number 3.
And did not lose any momentum whatsoever, completely sideways. We've seen Max do such a great job in the K&N Pro Series East Division right here on Speed. A couple wins already this year. One of them at Gresham Motorsports Park.
He's got a little family advantage at that racetrack.
As well as winning that big K&N East race at Loudon just a few weeks ago.
2 rookie stripes on the back of those 2 race cars out in front of this field. Ty Dillon unbelievably, already with 8 career wins to his name in just 16 starts.
That's about 50%.
That's right at it. He has put on a clinic. Hockenbraugh sideways once again in the 58.
Again, really sideways.
The gap now between 1 and 2 getting quite a bit further as Gresham still trying to chase after that 41. Here's a battle for the 8th spot. Tim George Jr. in the 31. He won here in June earlier this year.
That's Ryan Wilson in the 32 car, making his 2nd start of the year for Wintron Racing.
Ryan had a 21st place finish at Lucas Oil Raceway last week. Tim George Jr. grabbing his first career win in that 31 at Pocono earlier this year.
Really has put a solid season together. A lot of top 5 finishes in addition to that win here at Pocono in June. Last couple races has had some trouble. Got crashed as you see him move to the inside of Ryan Wilson. Got crashed right at the start finish line on a restart last week at Lucas Oil Raceway.
It's amazing how much momentum plays into this racetrack, because we saw Ryan Wilson just moments ago pull away to about a 6-car length lead over Tim George Jr. And now Tim George Jr. is able to roll or reel in that 32 and battling for position, as we see on the left side of your screen. Also battling for position, Chad McCumbee and Chad Hockenbraugh.
It's a great battle for the 3rd spot. Remember, Chad is a former winner here in the ARCA Racing Series, as well as making his Cup debut here in a Petty Motorsports car here a few years ago.
So Ryan Wilson again able to pull away from Tim George Jr. on the right side of your screen. That's for 8th. On the left side, battling for 3rd, McCumbee clearing Hockenbraugh and able to pull away.
And Chad got big time loose there. Actually, in the corner, you see Tim George now making the pass in that battle for 8th on Ryan Wilson, able to clear him before they get down to the tunnel turn.
Again, out in front, Ty Dillon now has a 0.8 of a second lead. Oh, and slower through the turn is the one of McCumbee. There's the gap between 1 and 2.
That's not much of a gap on this 2.5 mile racetrack here. About 4 or 5 car lengths. You know, Ty's mom and dad, Mike and Tina, celebrated their anniversary here yesterday.
Yeah, they were hoping an anniversary present would be Ty Dillon in victory lane, and maybe even Austin Dillon in victory lane, but all they got was rain.
Yeah. Well, maybe it'll come a day later here for Ty Dillon. Austin had a great run in the ARCA race. I mean, I'm sorry, in the Camping World Truck Series race earlier with a top 5 finish earlier today.
Ty Dillon's led 8 of the 24 laps that have been run. We are closing in on the halfway point. Once this lap is completed, the race officially halfway.
Remember now, we've run green here. These guys are going to have to make a pit stop by lap number 40. We have some people, we know that Frank Kimmel made a pit stop there on lap number 12, so he, as well as Grant Enfinger. Right now, Grant Enfinger running 11th. He pitted. If these guys have to stop under green, that could really play havoc as we get down towards the end of this race.
It is officially past halfway. You see Max Gresham still chasing after that 41, trying to find a line where he can pick up some speed and close the gap between race leader Ty Dillon and his race car. Again, it's Dillon, Gresham, McCumbee up to 3rd. Chad Hockenbraugh running 4th. Chris Buescher rounding out our top 5.
On an all-new episode of The Car Show.
Pocono Raceway, the lead heating up now as Gresham closing the gap on that 41 of Ty Dillon.
And both of these drivers hoping for a caution flag. Casey Roderick gave up a top 10 spot to make his way down to pit road this last lap.
James Harvey Hilton in the 48 stopped. That's off the Long Pond straightaway on the backstretch.
There's that caution that these guys desperately needed. Casey Roderick now will find himself a lap down after making that green flag pit stop, but this will give all these drivers that have not been to pit road yet an opportunity to come in, and this will qualify and be enough fuel to get to the end.
So problems for the 48 car. He pulls down into the grass. Might be a little difficult to get that car out of the grass because of all of the rain. Here are problems for the 1. Smoke coming out of the back of the 1 of Chad McCumbee. Again, McCumbee 3rd in this race when the caution flew.
Yeah, a lot of smoke out of that one car. What a tough break for Chad McCumbee. It looked like he has a great race car here.